Well, hello everyone, this is John Miller from the Rest of Everest. Just want to let all of you know there's going to be a bonus episode this week. It covers the Dalai Lama's visit to northern Colorado, my neck of the woods. All of the video was shot by Major King, and we'll be talking about it, so just in the next few days, keep checking your podcatchers, and hopefully you'll really enjoy it. It's pretty cool.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience. Episode 20, Technicalities.
Well, hello again everyone, welcome back to the Rest of Everest video podcast. I'm John Miller, joined today with Ben Clark. How you doing, Ben?
What's up, John? How's it going?
Doing alright. How's Telluride treating you?
It is awesome snowing outside right now.
Good. Well, this episode, this is going to be poking around a little bit in base camp, and then a little bit up at advanced base camp. As we saw last time, Ben and the crew walked up to advanced base camp. I stayed behind to tend to some of the more sort of custodial duties down at base camp. But still, you know, some interesting stuff happens, and it's all part of the experience. So, you remember that generator, Ben?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we had a few problems with the generator, which we'll see in a few minutes. So let's get right back into base camp. Here we go. This is a little video diary.
Hello, my name is John Miller, and I am the producer for Ben's documentary, Everest Mountain of Dreams. This morning, Ben headed up for the intermediary camp between base camp and advanced base camp, and that's just great. I mean, this is, you know, the beginning of the culmination of 4.5 years of effort and struggle and really hard work to get to the top of Everest. It's a real intense dream of his, and you know, he's on his way now. And I'm all alone at base camp aside from the two cook staff, who are just tremendous fellows. And I thought I'd take the opportunity to sort of give everyone sort of an idea of what it's like to be here and not be a climber. I'm not a mountain climber, I'm a rock climber. And I've never been over 14,255 feet. That's the elevation of Lhawang's Peak.
I was off by
Colorado.
a foot. It's 56 feet.
Yeah. Oh, but you will, Johnny.
I was hoping to
definitely be higher than that here.
give some anecdotal stories about life at base camp, but I'm going to open up this first sort of diary with some bad news. My friend Tom from the camp next door. Tom is a Canadian who lives in Boulder, and he's climbing with a group of Russians. And there's actually two groups of Russians here.
Sure.
There are some Russians next door from St. Petersburg, and there's a team across the base camp from Moscow. The Moscow team left for the higher camps.
So what happened right there was the lighting equipment that I had died permanently. And so that was the first and only video diary that I created there. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at, there's Dawachiri. He came up with a couple of other climbers that were going to be on our permit. You'll meet them in a few episodes.
Alon and Bertrand.
And a Belgian climber. But what I was about to say in my diary was that, as memory serves me, there were rumors spreading around that some climbers had been blown off the mountain, off of, I don't know if it was Everest or was it Choyu, because Choyu, because there was a big windstorm, and I don't believe that was true. Do you remember if that was true?
That was later in the season, though. That was around the arbitrary, like, May 10th type date.
No, that was there were definitely some rumors of things going awry.
Yeah.
Pretty early on, but it was all gossip, and yeah, and gossip really spreads through these camps, just like anywhere else probably in the world. You get a group of people who are under stress. It's amazing how quickly it all spreads. So Everest Base Camp is not immune to just weird rumors and gossip. So
No.
But so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to set up our base camp radio so we can stay in communication with the guys further up on the mountain. Right there, there's Dawa, our cook and base camp manager.
That would have been a nice shot to have used for later on down the road in the film when we were doing the communications. You guys were trying to get a hold of us while we were up there attempting the summit day.
Hello, base camp over.
Base camp.
Hello, ABC over.
There's the lawn.
Base camp.
Come on.
Gino guys up. Jason Jung. Jason guys Gino.
Cái gì này phải đào là cái nông này lại vậy?
Này đó, mệt thế.
Chơi dữ rồi.
Mệt thế, cái gì mệt thế bắt tay vào cái nông.
Đấy.
Dawa Cherry is one of those kind of guys who could talk at about 1,000 miles per second.
Uh-huh. And I don't know if his friends even understood much.
But he's a gadget guy. I remember that he really likes technology and he likes fiddling with stuff. So this was right up his alley.
Absolutely.
Cái xe này mình Gino là cái xe này mình Gino.
So he's talking with Dawa, who's probably only about 100 feet away on the portable radio. So I don't think our communications were ever that clear.
No.
Because what you can't see on the previous episode, the route up to Advanced Base Camp, it's not a straight shot. You hang up near the
big left.
Yeah, you hang a big left up a couple miles up the moraine, up the glacier. You hang a left, and you have to go around one of the sister peaks, and so you're actually behind a full mountain. And radio communications were not easy because it was not a straight line of sight.
No.
Higher up the mountains, it was easier.
John, who's a full foot taller than both Dawa and Dawa.
If not more than a foot.
Put up the satellite. Yeah, the receiver.
There we go.
Yeah, I always feel like a giant when I look at the footage of this stuff. I mean, I think I'm 6'1".
These guys are such a tight little package. They're just a little ball of muscle and energy.
That's all.
Extremely strong and always psyched, just always happy.
Yeah.
The only dense part of me is my head and my personality and my intelligence.
You probably got at least one dense section of lung after that trip.
Yeah.
I got some fluid sitting in there somewhere from who knows how all that time we spent up high.
Hello, base camp over.
कति राम्रो सुन्दर छ
एकदम राम्रो सुनेछ over.
हुन्छ म अलि उता पछाडि कुनामा जान्छु आधा घण्टापछि म कुरा गर्छु म उता पछाडि कुनामा जान्छु
ल हुन्छ over हुन्छ.
I remember being very excited by how clear the communications were, and I was thinking that this is how easily we're going to be able to hear everyone up higher on the mountain.
Of course.
Yep, I just need the generator.
Yeah, so there's Dawa checking out my batteries, and getting all excited about the technology.
He's psyched.
And there is my arch nemesis, not Dawa,
I have to film everything. I'm
Damn
sorry.
generator.
but the generator.
Most expeditions, just so people know, most expeditions in the Himalayas now, yeah, I mean, even really remote ones I've found, are carrying in generators. because nowadays a lot of people are relying on a lot of technology to incorporate weather and communication and entertainment for the time that you're sitting around. We brought it because we were trying to, part of our sponsorship for this expedition was that we would communicate this message back through while we were there, and that was part of the duty that John and I both felt about this entire trip, was in showing people why it's worth doing, why it was so much fun. And one of the cruxes of bringing in this technology, and one of the things that keeps me happiest, is that I know it's going to fail. It's just the way it goes. It's never without a hitch. It's never clean and easy. And having a generator there is a luxury, and you'd think, wow, that would really take away from the experience if that thing, if it's working all the time, you'd have lights or something. Don't worry. There was plenty of time where it did not work and totally failed, and I think by the end of the trip, out of all the expeditions, 22 expeditions, only one generator really worked, and that was the Russians. So, yeah, these things, they're a part of it, but it's not something that runs all the time. It's kind of an extra thing to keep technology charged so that we can communicate our message for climbing.
Yeah, and for those of you who are going to be going out, I know I've got one viewer who's heading out in just a couple of weeks to do some high altitude trekking in the Himalayas near Lukla. For people who want to take technology with them, some people think, oh, well, I'll just use solar power to charge everything. Well, if your expedition is 6 months long and you're only going to be using your technology maybe 2 days out of that whole expedition, you would have enough time to charge everything using the sun. So you really gotta bring a gasoline, or as the rest of the world says, petrol powered generator up there. And this was a little 2-stroke, and the altitude just killed it. And altitude and the Chinese gasoline was very low quality, and so the spark plugs were getting fouled up left and right. And the expeditions who had working generators, they had larger 4-stroke generators, and they worked a lot better. So there's a little tip for you guys: if it's mission critical, you have power, get a 4-stroke generator or 4-cylinder.
You see how that works?
Huh?
See how that works?
I don't know it.
Thank you.
I love watching this stuff because none of us know what we're doing. And we all are looking as if we're experts.
It's like, oh, sure. We've all worked on a Honda generator in 16,000 feet before. Just mucking up. What you gotta do is get the fuel a little bit leaner, not so gunky. Similar to having a vapor lock, in fact. Which I have had.
These guys were so cool, though. They were really patient with me, allowing me to film everything as if I wasn't filming. And they didn't sign up to be filmed. That really wasn't part of their deal. And they were very, very gracious to allow me. It was a non-issue that I was filming, at least as far as I understood.
Yeah. They may have left and just been like, God, he always has a camera. What is his deal?
But my theory when I film is I'm a pretty easy guy to get along with, and I'm very respectful, and so that typically works out really well for me and everything. So I don't think they had a problem. Maybe Lhawang can tell us differently in a future episode, but they were just really cool. Just no qualms about it. Even when things go wrong, it wasn't a big deal. I always thought it was funny. You got this generator, you got all this really high technology, but what do? You cover the generator with a woven basket to protect it.
Of course.
Or here's
you just want to keep it dry.
Here's a garbage bag. Throw the garbage bag over it and everything. Oh, there's the basket. They've got 2 layers of defense there. So now we transition up to Ben, And this is Ben's probably first or second day up at Advanced Base Camp. So what are we looking at here, Ben?
We're looking at the climb from 21,000 feet to 23,000 feet. And the black line that you see,
All the dots there.
black dots, those are climbers.
So there were more than a few.
There were several, in fact. Several teams of several, in fact, climbing the mountain. This is the upper ridge from 23,000 feet that leads up to the second camp on the ridge. As you can see, it should be punching out here in a moment. You'll see a rock band, and then we covered, there it is. We covered up to about the top of the snow in that rock band, as you can see, kind of the middle of the screen there.
Yeah, and that is the summit right there.
Yes.
It looks lower than some of the other parts of the mountain, but that's just because it's much further away.
That's for sure. And it's still 8,000 feet above us from there. This is Base Camp, otherwise known as the metropolitan booming metropolis. There's a lot of folks up here. This is at 21,000 feet. So just so people know, kind of an interesting fact I found is I was above this altitude for 30 days, at or above 21,000 feet. So this is where I spent most of my time on the climb, was sitting around just sort of withering away but enjoying the most beautiful place. I'd say one of the most beautiful settlements in the world. Always something going on, lots of different ways to go about living up that high. Winds obviously get pretty high, temperatures drop down, everyone's wearing a down jacket, and the best way to secure your tent is to always put blocks around it. And then here you get a look at sort of the ice in the Himalayas. While we were on Everest, it was icier than it was snow, and oftentimes, you know, you wouldn't be skiing that deep powder line if you were there. You'd be hiking up and using the spikes on your feet, your crampons at 2 points in the front. You would be front pointing up that ice or sidestepping it because it was pretty icy, not really very soft snow ever. And this is a valley between the northeast ridge of Everest and a sub-peak, and that's looking, I believe that's looking, what, off to...
Well, that looks, I think that's west, because right around there would be the enormous western face.
The Kanshun.
Yeah. Which is not been climbed very much. It's...
No, a couple of times.
I love these shots. It just goes and goes, and you're already at, again, the camera here is perched at 21,000 feet, and so all that time to get up to the top of the summit there, and you're already starting, the camera's shooting from 21,000 feet. It just it just amazes me. So
absolutely, long way home.
It's a long way, and again, the summit's only the halfway point. So well, thanks everyone for joining us. Next episode is going to be poking around more at ABC, getting a better look of what everyone's got going on there, and all of this stuff is filmed by Ben, so really happy to get some more of his photography in there, and there's some pretty interesting stuff. You can see it's much different than Base Camp.
Shoot, yeah. All right, man. Well, peace out, John. Peace out to you guys. Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you next week. The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every week. If you enjoy watching and would like to show your support, then take a look at my website. Aside from having lots of additional blog entries from the expedition updated every week, there's this little donation button on every page. Now, many of you have pressed that button, and your generous contributions are helping to cover my hosting fees. If you haven't donated but would like to, then just contribute any amount. In return, I'll give you access to the video and audio dispatches I sent out while we were actually at Everest. It's pretty interesting stuff. Contribute $25 or more, and I'll even throw in an iPod-compatible version of the film Everest: The Other Side. That's the project the entire podcast here is based on. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywoo.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.